Your life isn't being shaped by your goals. It's being shaped by the way you speak to yourself when no one else is watching. Hello, and welcome back to Bitch You Can. Hi, hello, how are you doing? It's episode 34, let's go. I'm very excited, I'm feeling high energy. I've actually just recorded another podcast. I don't know. I just don't know who I am right now. Me and Luke have decided to create a podcast for Activated, which is really exciting. Both shared this chair and this microphone. We'll see. We said we'll see how it goes before we commit to another mic and another chair. We're building Activated at the moment. We're going back and forwards for some designs, and I don't know how I've managed it, but I've managed to win purple. Purple's my colour. I don't know if anyone noticed. I love purple. It's always been my favourite. Purple has such a deep meaning behind it anyway. But we'll get into that over on Activated. The episode we just recorded was just about mine and Luke's story of how we've come together and the reason as to why we believe there was so many... I don't know how you would explain it. Luke and I's story is very unique, and the universe was definitely doing its bit for us. So that's all going to be over there on episode 1. So wish me luck, because I've got to edit 2 fucking episodes a week now. One of just me, which I thought was hard enough. But after me and Luke were sat there, I thought this would be tough. Sometimes I'm up here 45 minutes to 50 minutes. Me and Luke were recording for over an hour. And I thought, this could be a new challenge, because we both love to fucking waffle, it seems. This week is going to be all around self-talk, your thoughts and actions, and how that transpires. Literally, how you speak to yourself creates the life that you either do want to live or you don't. So the life you're creating right now is derived from your thoughts, which then transpire into actions and then transpire into habits. Self-talk for me is a huge thing. I've spoken about it before, but I thought let's fucking have it as a whole episode. Let's get into the actual, science. I say that loosely because I ain't no scientist and I didn't do well in science in school. But let's get into, the facts, if you like. The facts behind self-talk and your brain and how it wires. Our brains run on repetition. So the neuro pathways that are created is through repetition. Those neuro pathways strengthen with repeated thought patterns. It's called neuroplasticity. Hear me out. If you are always saying, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, that will never be me, that's just how I am, I'm not disciplined enough, and da-da-da-da-da. If you talk to yourself like that every fucking day, or maybe it goes a bit deeper, and you start telling yourself, you don't feel worthy of things, or you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, because I have done this before as well. I have come from a background where I have a low-key body dysmorphia. I do feel like body dysmorphia is a really tough one, because I do feel like with social media and how things are portrayed, and also with some of the resources out there, it is quite heightened, I believe, now. But for me, my body dysmorphia came from a toxic relationship where I've spoken about this before. The need for me to be in the gym was very obsessive, and not through me, through them. The fat burners, I spoke about that before, being bought for me, comparing me to starving Ethiopian children with a bloat, and saying that I was skinny with a little pot belly. Things like that, comparing me to Instagram models, saying that that's how they wanted me to look, smacking food away from my mouth, a lot of obsession, and also being cheated on continually really altered the way I looked at myself. So if you're someone who looks at yourself in the mirror and you talk negatively of how you actually look, that also counts. How our self-talk can go from so many different elements, It can be body positivity and body confidence. It could be mental. It could be emotional. It could be spiritual. It could be shame you're carrying. It could be guilt you're carrying from something that maybe actually, when you pick into it, shouldn't have happened. Or it could be from old actions. It could be anything. So when I say self-talk, I do mean it as a broad term. It's just how you're speaking to yourself at any point, at any moment in your day-to-day life. So if you're someone who does that, your brain isn't going to argue with you. Your brain isn't going to be like, oh, bitch, what? No, don't say that. Your brain ain't going to do that. It's going to fucking wire around what you are telling it. Because you are repeating this. If you say every day you wake up and you say, I'm not good enough, your brain, that neuro pathway is going to strengthen, baby. Your brain's going to find evidence to prove that you ain't fucking good enough. So then things will happen and it'll be like, see, you're not good enough. That imposter syndrome will get fucking louder. That negative voice in your head will get louder because you are wiring it, that you are strengthening those pathways. Like, remember, let's think of it actually science, like black and white. You're strengthening it by you keep repeating that to yourself. So your thoughts will turn into emotional response, which then will turn into behavior, which then will turn into reinforcement, which will then turn into identity. So you see how something as small as you waking up in the morning saying, I'm not fucking worthy, or I can't do this, or I'm just not disciplined enough, or, you know, I look fucking ugly today. If you talk to yourself like that every day, it will become your whole identity. And that is a vicious cycle so many of us are in with whatever it may be in your life. It could be the smallest, tiniest little thing that you say to yourself every day. It could be something self-conscious that you don't even fucking realize. Like, I even sometimes now have to snap myself out of it. Like, I might say something and I don't think I'm being negative, and sometimes Luke will be like, self-talk, Amy, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's actually really negative. Or, oh my god, how can I say that to myself? Be very mindful of how you speak to yourself and just be really open. Like, don't punish yourself for it. I'm gonna get onto that, I'm sure, because you know me, I like to, but don't punish yourself for it. Forgive yourself. If I have a bit of negative self-talk to myself now through my journey, I forgive myself. I'm like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And then I'll give myself an affirmation, or I'll list my gratitudes if I'm starting to get into that anxious cycle. It's kind of, if you want to go into big words, cognitive behavioral psychology. You don't need higher aspirations and goals. You need to check your self-identity. You're not raising these goals. You just need better self-concept of you. This is one of my favorite things to dive into, because this has been a saying of mine since I first ever started coaching. So back in 2023, I used to actually end my emails with this when I was doing emails before like really diving in on socials. Small daily changes will create habits, and habits are hard to break. So that I would use in positivity, you know, positive psychology of just do these small actions, just small little changes each day. Start small, change something small each day. Don't do fucking everything at once. Change something small that will become a habit every fucking day, and your habits is what's hard to break. But if we kind of rejig it, rewire it it kind of goes hand in hand from what I'm about to say. In life, your thoughts, what goes on in your brain, you repeat it enough, like we said, you strengthen that neuro pathway, that will transpire into actions. And your actions will then transpire into obviously your identity of who you are, your beliefs and your habits. If you're someone who wakes up every day and says, I'm bad with money, what will happen is you wake up, you say, I'm bad with money. You then avoid tracking your money. You avoid looking in your bank account because you're just bad with money, right? So you're going to be in an avoidance around it. You then avoid investing in whatever it could be. It doesn't have to be business, anything. You avoid investing because you're bad with money. That's what you tell yourself. So you're reinforcing that belief. Or if you're someone who wakes up and you say, I'm just not consistent. I can't stick anything out. I fall off the wagon after 2 weeks. I'm just not disciplined. I'm not consistent. What happens is the one time you skip something, or the one time you don't do your new routine, or you don't follow through with something, you've given your brain that evidence. And then what happens is like, I knew it. Told you you're not consistent. Told you you're not very good at that. Told you. Blah, 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 blah. Then that becomes who you fucking are. Because you've told yourself you're not consistent. You've told yourself you're not good with money. So your brain is finding evidence every fucking day to prove you right. That yes, of course, that is right. That is who we are. So I know it can sound a bit cliche and it can sound a bit silly when you say like wake up and say positive affirmations, but it does. Honestly, that's the truest way to rewire your brain, because that will then rewire your identity, and your identity will then be what changes everything in your life. Like, remember, as I always say, your beliefs are derived from evaluation. So just reevaluate. The same with your self-identity. Just rewire, reevaluate. And no one's perfect every day. If you have a slip up and you do find yourself, it's about being self-aware. That's the best fucking gift you can have in life, is to be self-aware. If you are aware of your negative thoughts, so many people are just like, yeah, that's just me. No, that's just me. Or they might be like, I'm not fucking negative. But in their head, they're like, you're fucking ugly. No one's going to want to be with you. You're shit with money. You can't hold down a job. You don't deserve love. Blah, blah, blah. And in their head, that's going on. But they're like, and they'll be bumping everyone else up, like, you know, big enough. They wouldn't say that to their best mate, but they're saying it internally to their head. So if that's you, even if it's one of those things and you do it once a day or once a week, or even if you do it all of those things every fucking day, that's where we need to switch this up. We need to rewire your identity, and the way we do that is being self-fucking aware. Don't avoid the fact that you're negative to yourself. Own it. Remember what I say every week, fucking own your shit. If you're negative to yourself, let's own it. And forgive yourself. Allow yourself to forgive you for being negative to yourself, because remember, you are the creator. You can fucking change it. If you're being negative to yourself, whoopee do. We can fucking change it. It's gonna be wonderful, because you make that decision. You make the decision. And if it's a subconscious thought that runs into your head and says, I'm not fucking good enough, you can stop and go, why would I say that to myself? Do you know what? You're trying, and I'm grateful for you for trying. And I forgive myself for saying that thought today. It sounds cringy. I know, it sounds cheesy, but that's what's going to fucking change your life. Like I say, your brain will always look for evidence. Your subconscious loves evidence. So if you're going to keep feeding it evidence, and this kind of goes back to another episode where I talk about how it's never a failure. Like, nothing in life is ever a failure. It's always a lesson. So if you can learn from your lessons and your failures, you are a winner. Because if you're not afraid to pick apart those fails and create lessons out of them and to learn and evolve from them, it really helps in cases like this, because it's like the whole time you're talking shit to yourself, the whole time you're backing up with evidence, your brain is wiring that. Like, your brain, again, we've spoken this before, it doesn't understand the difference between reality and not. So if you want to, I mean, I don't really want to do that experiment. I was about to say, I'd love to see an experiment. I don't want to be the one who experiments talking shit to myself every day, because I would be really scared of what that result would be. And I've said this before, how, like, you know, you wake up and you believe that today's going to be a shit day, but why don't you believe it's going to be a good day? Like, it's not an overnight fix. It is something you're going to have to work at. It is something you're going to have to keep repeating. Remember, repetition is what strengthens those fucking neuro pathways. So if you have to wake up every fucking day and make it, like, bring this into your day-to-day routine. When you're fucking stirring your coffee, make that as a trigger to say something nice to yourself. Even if it gives you the fucking ick, even if you feel this is really cheesy, make it a trigger. You're mixing your coffee, mixing your tea, fucking mixing a shake, like whatever, walking, or stepping foot in the gym, or I don't fucking know, logging on, like going on your phone, or it could be anything, like literally putting on your pants or your socks, I don't know, whatever feels good for you. Find a trigger, or even, somebody taught me this, oh, I love her to bits, like when you do this, like with if anyone's not watching, when you fiddle with your ring, or I fiddle with my necklace a lot, or like my bracelets, I fiddle with my jewelry, have that as a trigger. Now, someone who taught me this, she taught me to use that jewelry trigger to manifest, to step into your manifestation. Why don't you use it as a trigger to say something nice to yourself? Say something good to yourself, because there's no point manifesting at this point. There's no point trying to raise your aspirations, because you don't have the self-concept, you don't have the self-trust, you don't have the self-worth right now. So use that as a trigger. If you're someone who always potters around with your rings, moves your necklace or plays with your bracelets or rearranges them, make that a trigger. Say something nice to yourself. I don't care if it gives you the fucking ick. I don't care if it makes you feel cringy. I don't care if you feel embarrassed. Do it. Because that will strengthen that neuro pathway to then giving you the evidence that you are worthy, you are a good person, you can do this. You're not someone who just falls off. You're actively someone who is trying. You're actively somebody who wants to do better. So maybe try that out. Let me know how you get on. Whatever story you're deciding, your brain will, and your subconscious, however you want to look at it, it will compile the evidence to back what you are thinking, to back what you are saying. So rather than back the evidence, like how many people say something bad happens and then something else happens, like two bad things have happened. They go, ooh, it comes in threes. Now you're anticipating the third thing. No, it doesn't. Don't say that. Because then your brain will actively look for something negative to back up your claim that it comes in fucking threes. It's as simple as that. It's the smallest little tweak in your brain. It's the smallest little tweak in your day-to-day life. It's being self-aware about it. But I'm telling you now, it will change your fucking life. It will change your life. And I don't mean that lightly. Because how you speak to yourself, how you show up for yourself, how you are, how you internalize your internal monologue. And I realize some of you don't have one of those, which is really interesting to me because I thought everyone had one, but apparently some people don't. But whatever's going on in here and however you process things, if it's negative, trust me, it's going to transpire. Remember, your thoughts turn into actions, your actions turn into identity. So if you are negatively thinking all the time, best believe your actions are going to be fucking negative. Then best believe your identity is negativity. And best believe then everything that comes into your orbit and your aura is fucking negative. And that's when you turn out to be the person that says, why does everything bad happen to me? And I don't say that to be an arsehole. I say that because that was me. I say that because it was me. As a teenager, I remember vividly saying all the time, it could be something as simple as me and my sister got bought the same thing. Mine breaks, hers doesn't. When my sister, and she was so messy, didn't take care of her stuff, whereas I'm like prim and proper, pristine, like a little bit OCD how I look after things. Like my stuff always had to have a place. My shit would break and I'd always think, why does everything bad happen to me? Why does only bad things happen to me? And that's because of a trauma response, yes, but also because of anxiety, being riddled with comparison. If you are somebody that says, oh, it comes in threes, don't say that, because then your brain will look for the second or the third thing to come. Like, people say that all the time, and I used to say that. I used to literally say, why do bad things only happen to me? Okay, now my brain's going to find the subconscious evidence to back up only bad things happen to me. So instead of me, it's like, okay, how can I articulate this? It's like, funny enough, Luke said this the other night. Again, I fucking love this shit. The more I do this podcast, the more I delve into these topics, the more things come through on channel, like come through as a channel to me. And I know you might be going, Amy, you've officially lost the plot. You've gone completely woo-woo. What's up with you? Me and Luke had this conversation Thursday night. He was actually looking at reviews because it's my 30th this year. We got a hall pass for a kid-free week. So we're going on holiday and I'm really excited. And we're looking where to go. And we're looking at reviews and we're looking at things. And Luke actually said it's funny because, you know, people, if it's something good, people don't rush to write reviews. If it's something bad's happened, they'll rush to be negative. And isn't that the truth? How many positive reviews have you left compared to negative reviews? Like, even at the weekend when we was at this hotel, the spa, it was a beautiful spa, but fucking hell, disgusting. They hadn't cleaned up from the night before. There's dirty wine glasses. Bearing in mind, we had the sunrise spa booked. So we was the first session, 7 till 9, in the spa. No robes for anybody because there wasn't any left over because I'm guessing they hadn't washed them up. In the women's changing room, there was just fucking piles of dirty robes. There was big black sacks. The bins hadn't been emptied properly. And I thought, oh, maybe they're doing it. So I got changed, went in the spa. I was in the spa for about an hour. Come out the spa, it was still exactly the same. And I was like to Luke, I'm going to have to like send an email because that's disgusting. Like, you had to pay extra for the spa and it wasn't a cheap hotel. And I just thought it was really, really bad service. And also they had really bad signage. It wasn't like ideal. And isn't it funny? Because if it was a great stay, I wouldn't have probably gone, oh, I must leave them a review. And now that is something I'm trying to rewire my brain. I'm trying to get better at that by giving out, because like I try and whatever I do, I try and give good reviews and good feedback. And like, you know, if I feel somebody's done something, like at the weekend, I complimented somebody on stage who really, really like got me. And I was like, wow, how amazing. And it really connected to me. Whereas I might have been a bit embarrassed. Like Luke was like, come on, you need to tell them. And I'm like, oh, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to go up to them and be like, oh. But because I was like, they're talking to other people, it's going to be, but he's like, no. And I'm glad I did, because it was such a nice interaction. It was really lovely. But do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to rewire my brain, but this is what I'm saying is people are quick to do the negative, or say you get a negative review, or you get a bit of negative feedback at work, or someone says something negative to you. You let that negative thing hit you. You could have 90 positive things. That one that's negative would derail you. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I've gone off on topic and I don't actually remember what I was saying. Your brain is going to find, if you're negative, it will be negative. If you're finding the negativity in life, then the negativity will show itself. If you're only looking for positive, the negative doesn't seem that bad. Like so many people at the minute, oh my god, it's fucking rain every day. And I'm trying, do you know how many conversations I've had this week with everyone moaning about the rain? And I'm trying so hard to not be a part of that conversation, or just be like, oh, well, the days when it has been sunny, hasn't it been beautiful? Because I just think, rain is, like, you're not going to melt in the rain, it's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, silly little things like that. But I'm just trying to be more self-aware of how I speak, how I pick up on things. So that's called confirmation bias. So your subconscious and your brain will confirm what you're telling it to make it its reality. It will back it up, basically. I feel like limiting beliefs gets thrown around a lot, but let's break it down, because everyone knows the term limiting belief. Some people don't associate them with having limiting beliefs, even though they do. And some people just hear it being thrown around and don't quite understand it. A limiting belief is just a sentence that you have stopped questioning. An unchallenged thought. It's an internalized voice. It's like fucking imposter syndrome. Patricia, fuck off. And also it's a survival narrative. So if you're somebody who, even something as simple as, maybe you've always been the class clown, maybe you've always been the funny one, maybe you've always been the life and soul of the party, because maybe somewhere along the line, whether that's your childhood, teenage years, adulthood, relationships, however, maybe somewhere along the line, it's a survival instinct that you have to be the funny one to survive. You have to be the one to bring the laughter and the light to survive in a situation. It could be, that you've been taught to shrink yourself and silence yourself, because along the way you've been taught to survive, you have to be small. To survive, you have to tread on eggshells. To survive, you have to be palatable. All three of those I just listed, all of those, for most of you, those beliefs, again, beliefs are derived from evaluation. Most of those are never yours to fucking begin with. It's come from others, whether that's parents, teachers, friends, relationships, colleagues, peers, whatever. Most of those limiting beliefs, those sentences that you've stopped questioning, most of those were never yours to fucking begin with. They're essentially inherited down and then modeled into your life, and you believe they have to stick, because you believe once you have a belief it has to stick. You end up repeating it like it's facts, like it's Bible. But you're not stuck because of those circumstances. You're stuck because you keep rehearsing this same identity, whether you realize it or not. You are rehearsing it again and again and again, because remember, the identity derives from what? The fucking thoughts. So you are rehearsing it and backing it up and affirming it every day without actually noticing how much you're doing it. And I know a lot of you might be like, ugh, it gives you the ick, it makes you feel a bit gross, let the ground swallow me up. But again, it's how you wire your brain. It's down to your self-worth of how you interpretate it. Because, even something as simple as like saying to yourself, I love you. Like, people are like, ugh, I'm going to be sick. Ugh, I'm going to be sick. Because it's like somewhere along the line you don't think you're worthy of love, so why would you say that to yourself? Or standing there in front of the mirror and being like, I'm a millionaire. Or like saying like, I have 10 grand in the bank, or like, I have 2 grand in the bank, or whatever. Even though your bank might be like minus 20 fucking p or minus 500, you might be in your overdraft, I don't know. So you might be like, well, it's not fucking, how can I believe that? But again, it's because you're telling yourself like, I'm not good with money, so that's like you back it up. So again, it's like when you first say an affirmation, and it can be whatever you want it to be. Like for me, I used to really struggle with affirmations because I didn't believe any of it. Something as simple as like, I forgive you. Gross. I love you. Don't talk to me. Because I didn't believe those things. I didn't want to, I just, I would always, my thing was like, I'd be in two minds, like I forgive myself, like I'd be like, well, I ain't the fucking one to forgive because I ain't fucking done anything wrong. And then the other part of me would be like, oh my god, I carry so much shame, like, is it all my fault? Am I the problem? Am I like, it's all because of me, like everything that happened to me is because of me? Do you know what I mean? Like, I would go between the two. So to stand in front of the mirror and say I forgive you, or even lay in bed with my eyes closed and just in my head being like, I forgive you, nah, yeet me off the planet. No, I don't want to do that. When you start digging into this, you realize how long you have been having negative self-talk to yourself, right? That neuropathway is so fucking strong that, of course, you saying anything positive, that neuropathway isn't even built yet. You haven't even got a connection, so you've got to keep repeating it. So yes, at first it's going to be uncomfortable. At first it's going to feel icky. But I tell you now, the more you fucking do it, it will get stronger and stronger and stronger. And the less you're doing the negative, that will get weaker and weaker and weaker. So then actually that won't feel out of whack. It won't feel icky. It won't feel gross. You'll lean into it. You'll feel good, and you'll think of other affirmations, and your self-worth will start to come up, and your self-identity will change. And then if you do find yourself being negative yourself, that then feels like, where's that come from? Why are you being horrible? And that's what we want to do. We want to opposite, like fucking reframe. When you change that sentence, you're changing the behavior. When you change the behavior, you change the evidence. Don't forget, subconscious loves evidence. And when the evidence changes, that's when your identity shifts. And that, ladies and gents, is how habits actually fucking change. That's why your New Year's resolutions never stick. That's why your habits, like you go to the gym for a week and then you fall off the wagon. That's why as soon as your period hits, everything goes downhill. That's why your habits never stick. Because you haven't rewired. You haven't done you haven't changed your self-identity. So it's all about changing the evidence, changing the behavior, changing the sentences, changing the thoughts. Healing girl homework. Okay, this week, I want you to track it. So this isn't just going to be a one prompt for today. This week, I want you to track every time something negative comes up. I want you to write it down or do a voice memo on your phone, write it in your journal, write it in your notes, whatever. Don't just mentally, actually do it, because then at the end of the week, when you see how many times, it will be like, fuck. It will really open your eyes. So this week, every time you say something negative about yourself, pause and ask, is this fact or is this just a familiar sentence I keep telling myself? Then you're going to replace it with something neutral. It doesn't need to be this whole woo-woo fucking shit that feels so uncomfortable that you're not going to want to do it. So you write down a negative thing, ask yourself, is that a fact or a familiar sentence I keep telling myself? And then replace it with something neutral but empowering. So it doesn't have to be like fucking fantasy land. It's just intentional. So if you're someone who's like, I'm so fucking lazy, you just switch that with, I'm learning consistency. You're not if it feels good for you to be really challenge that, but I feel like for a lot of us, we need to build it and introduce ourselves into it. So if you're going to sit there and say, I'm fucking lazy, then I want you to just switch it with the neutral of, I'm learning consistency right now. So it's like you're just showing your brain and your subconscious that the evidence that you are learning. So it's not going from I'm a lazy bitch to I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm a 5 a.m. club girl now. We're not doing that. We're doing stuff that's actually going to stick. We're not going to do this aggressive positivity. We're not going to play this same dance we've been playing for the last however many years or however many months or since fucking January and you've done your New Year's resolution. We're not playing that game. We're going to replace it with something neutral that actually is going to rewire, and that's what you're going to keep repeating to yourself this week. So it'd be interesting for you to see how many times you talk negatively, because you might be sat there going, I don't talk to myself. I ain't that negative when I talk. When I realised how much I talk to myself negatively, I was embarrassed actually, because I was like, fucking hell, I would never say that to someone else once, let alone the 8 million times I was saying it to myself every week. Try that, because it will really open your eyes. You can't hate yourself enough to be disciplined. And what I mean by that is you can't be horrible to yourself and talk to yourself like a piece of shit so much that it then just magically disciplines you. That's not how it fucking works. The science is there. Like I said, I ain't no scientist, but the proof is there. That is not how it works. You're never going to shame yourself into confidence, and you're never going to bully yourself into fucking growth. Your thoughts are the rehearsal, and you just got to keep showing up for yourself, and you've just got to flip the switch, because it's only you that can do it. Like, you can listen to these podcasts every week. You can do your heal and go home work every week. But if you're not going to actively believe and you're not actively going to be consistent, you're not actively going to fucking change it, like these minuscule changes, these little tiny things, like this, I'm not telling you to do anything massive. I'm not telling you to go and spend 10 grand on a course. I'm not telling you to go and wake up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm not telling you to jump in a cold plunge every day. I'm not telling you that you have to only eat organic every fucking day. I'm not telling you that you can't watch TV ever again. I'm not telling you that you can't drink ever again. I'm telling you, just change how you fucking speak to yourself. Change that one tiny thing and watch how you grow. Watch how your life changes. Watch how you develop as a person, and watch the ripple effect. So just be careful of how you're speaking to yourself and what thoughts are going through your mind, because the version that you want to be, the version you keep describing of who you want to be, she's fucking listening. She's fucking listening. So be mindful of how you're speaking to yourself, and start speaking to yourself beautifully, positively, and taking care of you, because bitch, you can. Hope you enjoyed that episode. I really enjoyed that episode. Thank you. As always, it's been a fucking pleasure. I just love having a podcast. I love it so much. I don't like the editing, but I love doing this. I appreciate you, as I say every week. Please like, rate, and subscribe, whether you're on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Please make sure you share this with anybody who you feel might need it. You might have a friend, a family member who you know talks to themselves like a piece of shit every day, and you're always having to hype them up. Send this to them. Help them out. I'm proud of you. Start noting down those negative talks this week and replacing it with something neutral, then to build on and create a positive mind for yourself. And as always, I'll see you in the fucking next one. Love you, bye.